Welcome to Admissions and 15 Adventures. Do you recognize this adventure?
The movies and TV shows, there are also a lot of concerts and a lot of benefits. And this big building over on...
All prisoners, do not attempt to escape. Move forward immediately, or we will blast you.
I think we're just going to go around this. I don't know what it is, but I think it'd be best if we just... Oh!
Move.
Okay, it looks like we have been captured by a Cylon battleship, and right now we're being pulled into the Battlestar Galactica Cylon ship. We're in the battleship, and looks like somebody has us here. Who are you?
I am the Imperious Leader, and you are now under my control. You will be vaporized in 30 seconds.
Vaporized? Wait a minute. We were just on a tour. Why don't you let us go through the back door and let us go? Well, we'll just continue on.
Escape is impossible.
In the name of the Federation, I demand the release of the humans!
You will not leave this ship alive. Annihilate it!
Well, not really. This house has been burning for 10 years and is simply a facade. When you go around the side of the house, you'll see it's completely empty in the back. There's absolutely nothing back there. And all of that fire shooting through the windows right now is coming through gas jets. And the chart appearance around the windows is black spray paint. And this is the effect of the facade. You'll see a lot more of those on the tour. And you'll also see the makeup and wardrobe departments, which are...
Where are you from, Mary? From Valencia. You doing okay? All right. Wow, yeah, this is kind of a weird situation. What kind of card game are you playing? Playing a little blackjack. I see you're not playing with the full deck. Did you know that? That's okay. That's a requirement for our volunteers, yeah. Now, Mary, take 2 cards off the table. Any 2 cards. Now, hold them out to your side. One on one side, one on the other. Very good. A little bit more like that. Okay, perfect. Now, everybody watch the video screen. Now, Mary, on the count of 3, I want you to drop the cards. You ready? Ready to drop the cards. 1, 2, 3. Just drop. It's a weird effect. All right, Mary, relax. Okay, now they're going to have somebody get you down here in just a couple of days, okay? All right, so let's have a nice round of applause for Mary. All the way from the too. There we go. Yeah, I think we're going to have, what, we need 3? Need 3 here? We might, yeah, I think we might be able to get 3. You'll see a silhouette, and the blue is electronically eliminated. In the center, you don't see anything yet, but you will see some film footage of the Hollywood Hills. We put the silhouette of Brunel E.T. Whoa, Brunel, you're flying with E.T., oh my gosh! Look at that TV on the floor. Give yourself a big wave. Now with the other hand. Now with both hands. Don't let go, Brunel. It's a long way down. Big smile. There's probably agents out there ready to offer you $1 billion a year contract, so you never know. Brunel, a wonderful performer walking on carpet. This is tough work, really. There's food over there, Philip. Go get it. Rock through the glass. Stand by. Yeah! Oops, kind of slipped there. And I have my rock back, thank you. The old rubber rocking the audience routine. What was missing there, sound effect wise? Good guess. Gunshots presents
through the universe. Emotion control. The model never moves. The camera does. As you can see, a computerized camera is now moving the length of the ship against a black background. By adding a field of stars, we now create the illusion of the ship flying through space.
Number 1 and number 2 today. Let's find out. Well, I think it's our brave spacewalk volunteers who are going to be flying for us today, the same way the actors did in 2010. Let's meet them at this time. Where's Sarah? Wave to us, Sarah. There she is. All right, Sarah, you're up front. You're all the way from, let's see, Burbank, California. All the way from Burbank. You must have walked here today. And Sarah is playing the part of the Russian cosmonaut, Lieutenant Brailovsky, the experienced space veteran. And bringing up the rear, we've got Carol back there, all the way from San Diego, California, right? Carol is playing the part of the American astronaut, Lieutenant Kurnow, who has never been in space before, because he's an engineer.
Colonel Brailovsky, come in. Colonel, are you ready? I don't think I want to go through with this. You don't have any choice. Stand by. I'm engaging the doors. Brailovsky, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Officer Colonel, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I hear you. Oh, gosh. Do not worry. And most of all, do not look down. Brailovsky?
There now. Look ahead of you. Look at Brailovsky.
Have no fear, Kurnow. There is nowhere to fall.
Nowhere to fall. Right. All right, gentlemen, we've got a problem. You better pick up some speed and get to Discovery. There's a moving object and it's coming your way.
Hollywood Square starring John Davidson, and some very special scenes were filmed inside that soundstage as we plays the part of Detective Columbo of the ABC Mystery Movie. ABC Mystery Movie is the lengths which starred Rex Harrison and Doris Day. Now off to my side of the trail, you'll get an up-close view of our facades. They appear to be made out of stone, cement, concrete, but they're really not. They're made out of nothing more than wood, fiberglass, foam rubber, and chicken wire. Now, if you look off to my side of the trail, you see a huge archway. In fact, you see 2 barrels right in front of the archway. That was the precinct where Kojak worked in that popular series in the 1970s. Kojak, of course, played by Telly Savalas. And Telly Savalas will be playing that role again this fall. As to my side of the trail, you'll see Brownstone Street. That's where we did The Women of Brewster Place, starring Oprah Winfrey. It's also where Abbott and Costello lived. And we used that particular street to do some scenes for Lady Sings the Blues, a film that will look like the road continues forever. Sometimes, though, it's necessary to build an entire city indoors, which is what we've done inside one of the largest
Latest word just in. The path of destruction continues even across the house. Police have been there hours to stop the enraged beast. Military units are rushing to the scene. The beast was last sighted near the 200 block of Old Fulton Avenue. We now go to the line refuge on the scene. Parts of Kelly King. Kelly?
Thank you, Senator. We're now hovering above the wreckage of a crushed L train. The helicopter beside us is searching for... Wait! There's a tramload of people down there. We've got to get to the north and attention to people on the track. You are in danger.
We'll quickly cross the Brooklyn Bridge, and once we've done that, we should be out. Wait a minute, what is that? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the world's largest animated creature, King Kong! was said it was very brightly colored because the producers of this film wanted it to look just like a comic book. Of course, Dick Tracy is a comic strip character, so the look for this particular movie is certainly appropriate. But right now, though, we're going to take you by one of the oldest standing structures on the lot. It's Universal's famous bridge. Something was built in 1915, and I believe it. Look at this. The beams are falling off one by one. This thing is so old. Now, in the old days, we used to take our trams across this bridge, but we simply can't do that anymore because it's just too old. So Richard, our driver, is going to take us around the back of the bridge, where you'll get a beautiful view of our backlot as we go around the back. Wait a minute. Oh no, I don't believe this. Oh no, we're going over this old bridge. Can you believe this? This bridge is actually holding this tram. This old, this is incredible. Across the bridge, Bigfoot across this bridge in a scene from that show. Bigfoot, of course, is played by professional wrestler Andre the Giant. It's an adverse effect to simply spray on the leaves to enhance the appearance of the plants and to make them look as good as new. Now, for those forest fire scenes, coming into view pretty shortly, you'll see an airplane. You have to look carefully because it's been camouflaged. The airplane was used in an episode of the A-Team. That television show, of course, starring George Papard, George Benedict, and Mr. T, and Dwight Schultz. Dwight Schultz played the part of Murdoch, and Murdoch crashed his plane there in one of those episodes from that popular show. Look off to the driver's side of the tram. I see it's raining. But if you look off to my side of the tram, it's completely dry, because that's what they meant by 50-50 chance of rain. You know, sometimes when it rains like that in old Mexico, there's a flash flood. I wonder if that happened today. There it is. And it's heading right for the third car. Watch out for that tree. Simon from Rick and AJ, good old Mexico. This is usually about as far as they go. Orion Films did a motion picture here called Three Amigos. Starring Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Chevy Chase. Of course, the Three Amigos rode horses. And the livery stable on my side of the tram is where we would keep our horses when they're here on the lot to do. And this is the oldest part of Universal's Backlot, where we did a lot of westerns. We call this 6 Points, Texas. We call it 6 Points, Texas because there are 6 different looking western streets which all meet right here in the center point. We'll be pausing here for a little while so you can take advantage of this great picture-taking opportunity. Now, onto each street is constructed its own saloon, and then go out to a beach area to film that underwater scenes. Or we can just fill up this tank with water. We can position our cameras right outside. There are little windows we can do our filming from, and we can do our underwater filming right here on the lot. Now, over to the driver's side of the tram, you'll see building number 468. That is our 747 soundstage. Inside of that soundstage, we have interior mock-ups of airplanes. Now, this soundstage comes in handy when we want to... Now, in this graveyard, we have some props that were used in a film called MacArthur, which starred Gregory Peck. As we pass the graveyard, you'll see a couple of things from a very good angle right now, because this is not what the camera would show you. The camera would only be positioned at the front of the facade so that it would look real once you see it on film. This was used in a 1953 film called Mississippi Gambler, starring Tyrone Power. It was used in a television series called Riverboat, which starred Burt Reynolds. That ran from the late 1950s to the early 60s. And this lake, believe it or not, on my side of the tram, was the entire Pacific Ocean for the McHale's Navy television series starring Ernest Borgnine. Now they tell me they left some underwater explosives in this lake from that show. And then we just found one of them. Well, we've now reached the inspirational point in our tour today, ladies and gentlemen. This is Universal's version of the Red Sea, inspired by the Paramount film The Ten Commandments, starring Charlton Heston. I'm sure you remember Charlton Heston as Moses standing upon the cliff, waving a staff and commanding the waters to part. Well, here at Universal, I have my own unique way of parting the waters. I simply turn to the waters and say, "Part the waters, please." And the waters part. Now enabling us to cross the Red Sea and go over to the island of Bora Bora, where you see a huge ark. Now that ark was used in a film called Fletch Lives, which starred Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase played a character who visited a theme park called Bible Land, and that ark was featured in those scenes. Now as we take you through the Red Sea, everyone must remain seated. Everyone must be seated as we go through the Red Sea. People in the fourth car, please remain seated. You must be seated as we go through the Red Sea. Thank you very much. Oh. Boy, those mines are everywhere, man. You've got to keep your eyes open for those underwater explosives. Well, from the Red Sea to the South Sea, we've now landed on the island of Bora Bora, where the Tales of the Gold Monkey television series was done. If you look out to the driver's side of the tram, you'll see some placid-looking waters. Those waters have appeared more ominous on film, because that's where the creature from the Black Lagoon lived. It's also where Norman Bates threw many of his victims' bodies in Psycho and Psycho 2. Films and television shows, that's where Doyle Lonigan played golf in the movie The Sting. Now, of course, that park doesn't look like much of a golf course, but it can be filmed from many different camera angles to make it look like an entire golf course. They're not real cobblestones at all. They just appear to be cobblestones. It's ordinary cement. As a matter of fact, that was pressed into a cobblestone mold while it was still wet. Now, this area was on the storefronts. All we have to do is change the language on the signs to make it look like any part of Europe that we wish. A major automobile manufacturer was out here doing a commercial on Court of Miracle set, which is also in an undressed or neutral state. And I was explained to you that this set was used, actually it was designed for a 1919 film called Mix, which would be to simply cut across the monster's head, opening it up just like a pot, and plopping the brain inside, closing it back up just like a pot lid. And that's why Now, if you look out to the driver's side of the tram, you start to see the railings that I was talking about. And the attention to detail is absolutely incredible. In fact, you can see the camera, the lighting that's been used, that's been set up here, very expensive equipment. Unfortunately, the set gets rather dusty. So about every 2 hours, we have a maintenance man come in here, hose down the set to keep the dust off so it doesn't get on our equipment. Folks, don't worry about that. That's a little California camera. We have them all the time. Let me tell you some more about this set. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are experiencing an earthquake. Driver's side of the tram, it sounds like a runaway train. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll get out of here just wait. Now, what is that? A flash flood, watch out! break 200 times daily. And believe it or not, that entire special effect resets itself in only 25 seconds. Well, now we're going to take you through the town of Amity. Probably heard about this big white man-eating shark.
If you want to film, the old Jaws comes up here. If you want to sit here, if you want to sit here and take it, do you?
These days,
I'll take it.
deserted, nobody lives here, everyone's scared of the shark. Except George, the fisherman, who is peacefully fishing on... Wait a minute, what is he doing out there? He shouldn't be out there. George! George, get off the lake, you're in trouble! George! Oh no, poor George, I wonder if he'll make it. Oh, I guess not. Well, if you look to the center of the lake, you'll see that we have set out a plastic float to which we've attached some shark bait. That shark should be taking the bait, and there he goes. He's finally taking that bait. Oh, he's also got the beer. He should be coming out of the center of the lake any second now. That, of course, is Universal's famous the first movie in 1975. That movie, of course, was directed by Steven Spielberg. Well, this time as we go around the town of Amity, I want you to look at it from her bicycle through this set during the opening credits of that show. That's where Boo Radley lived in the movie To Kill a Mockingbird. That's where he filmed some of those scenes. Now, on to my side of the tram is Miss Mona's Chicken Ranch. Some of you better know it as the best little whorehouse in Texas from that movie starring Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. Now, Miss Mona's Chicken Ranch is what's known as a practical set, meaning that the house opens up just like a dollhouse, and we can put our cameras and lighting inside. We can film interior scenes inside this house, and that's where some of the scenes from Psycho 2 are done, right inside Miss Mona's Chicken Ranch. Now, the backyard of the best little whorehouse is where Jessica Fletcher does her gardening, oddly enough, in Murder, She Wrote. Well, now we're climbing the highest because this is the original set from the movie Psycho, done in 1960, which starred Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, and directed, of course, by the great Alfred Hitchcock. Now, the Psycho house is built on a 3/4 scale, meaning that it appears larger on film than in real life. Right beneath the Psycho house, behind the trailer, is the Bates Motel. That's where Janet Leigh checked in, but never checked out. Like that, Ackroyd?
No.
And John Candy. That set was built inside soundstage number 12. Soundstage number 12 is the largest soundstage ever built. In fact, that soundstage is so large that it could house an entire football field, audience included. This backdrop was built for the movie Jaws the Revenge, the fourth in the series of Jaws movies, and the backdrop recreates the very blue Bahamian skies. You see, Jaws the Revenge was filmed in the Bahamas, all except for the final scene, which was filmed right out here in our tent. As you can see, it's even starting to snow out here, a rarity in Universal City. And as I look ahead, I see that the road has gotten rather icy, slippery, and it is leading us through an ice tunnel. I guess I should warn you that we must be very quiet as we go through this tunnel, because the last thing we'd want to do is set off an avalanche. There's that avalanche that I warned you about. Now, if you happen to feel dizzy, just look to the floor of the tram or close your eyes, and you'll be just fine. Okay, now that everyone's warmed up, we'll try that again from the other direction. Hills, where we filmed Universal's biggest film ever, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Now, E.T. is a shining example of movie-making magic, and we have a lot more magic waiting for you back at the Entertainment Center.